I'm Richard Rhodes. This is History in 5. I'm going to talk about 5 things about the Spanish Civil War, which was fought between the two world wars and was a kind of trial run for the Second World War. The Spanish Civil War was fought between a group of rebel generals, fascists, and the democratically elected government of Spain. It was a brutal civil war. About 1 million people died out of a population of only 25 million in the whole country. Nazi Germany and fascist Italy supported the rebellion with money and materiel and about 100,000 soldiers. So to compensate, volunteers from all over the world, the United States, Great Britain, France, and Germany most of all, liberals, communists, people on the left, traveled to Spain to raise money, drive trucks, deliver ambulances, help the sick, and in many cases actually to fight on the front lines. There were medical breakthroughs that not only saved lives in Spain, but also saved many more lives during the Second World War. Truckloads of blood, often in trucks that had previously been used to carry fish to market, delivered the blood to the front lines. New surgical techniques were developed. The Spanish Civil War was fought at a time before the development of antibiotics. There were lots of terrible wound infections and many soldiers died from them. A Spanish surgeon developed a new technique for cleaning a wound and packing it with gauze and then casting it as if it were a broken bone. He would leave the cast on for a month or more, and when it finally came off, the wound was clean and had healed. This technology was recently reinvented in the United States and is now being used to deal with the new class of wounds that can't be cured with antibiotics. Hitler loaned General Franco a 5,000-man air force, which with typical German bravado was named the Condor Legion. The Condor Legion is notorious today for having bombed the small Basque town of Guernica in northern Spain. 1,000 people were killed in one afternoon. It really was the first of the deliberate attempts to kill large numbers of civilians in cities. One good thing was Picasso's decision to commemorate the bombing with his great painting Guernica, and it's still a shocking depiction of the violence, something that came back to haunt the Germans during the Second World War, when the United States and Great Britain systematically firebombed most of the major cities of Germany. Most people are familiar with Ernest Hemingway's time there. He covered the war for various journals in the United States, and one of his greatest novels, For Whom the Bell Tolls, emerged directly from his experiences in the war. The young American poet Muriel Rukeyser had a passionate love affair with one of the young German volunteers who was later killed in the war. On the way home from that experience, she wrote her powerful poem, Mediterranean, which describes those events. George Orwell, the English novelist and essayist, actually fought in the front lines and indeed was wounded. He describes powerfully the experience of having a bullet go through your neck, went home and wrote his marvelous description of his war experiences, Homage to Catalonia. The Canadian surgeon Norman Bethune organized the first large-scale blood collection and transfusion program. He and his staff collected in the course of the 3 years of the war some 30,000 pints of blood. A colorful and articulate American surgeon named Edward Barsky performed life-saving surgery all over the country, but in the front lines, among other places, during the Spanish Civil War. He ultimately was in charge of 22 hospitals of a total of more than 30,000 beds for all of the many international volunteers who had come to Spain. It can seem mysterious that this small war in a small country in one corner of Europe should have generated so much literature and art and memory. But it was a kind of hinge of history, this war.